Far beyond the well-charted regions of space lies a shadowy sector, where the known laws of survival are tested every day. This is the domain of the Deathworlders, a fearsome species infamous across the galaxy for their brutal resilience and military prowess. Born on a planet where only the strongest survive, the Deathworlders have built a reputation as ruthless warriors and master strategists. Their fleets are unmatched, their warriors feared. Yet they rarely intervene in conflicts beyond their borders unless their own survival is at stake. One quiet day aboard the Deathworlders flagship, the watchtower picks up an unexpected transmission, a distress signal. It is not just any SOS. This one bears the ancient signature known only as the alien SOS, a rare and sacred call for help broadcast across the galaxy. The message originates from a fragile alien colony located in a remote star system, far from any allied support. The signal is desperate, pleading for immediate assistance against an unspecified threat that has overwhelmed the colony's defenses. This message sparks an immediate debate within the Deathworlders' command. Many commanders regard such pleas with suspicion or disdain. After all, why should the Deathworlders risk their most elite forces for a weak and unknown alien race? The Deathworlders' code demands strength, and weakness is often met with cold pragmatism. However, the Council cannot ignore the potential consequences of ignoring a legitimate SOS. Rumors swirl that the colony is being attacked by a force so deadly it might threaten entire star systems if left unchecked. Among the Council is a young and ambitious commander named Kael'rith. Unlike his peers, Kael'rith believes that the Deathworlders have a greater role to play in galactic affairs, that their strength could protect not just themselves, but the fragile balance of life across the stars. He argues passionately that the SOS should be answered immediately, that to let this threat grow would be a grave mistake. His conviction begins to sway a few of the Council members, igniting a fierce internal conflict between cautious tradition and bold intervention. As the Deathworlders deliberate, scouts are sent to investigate the SOS coordinates. The silence of space is shattered when a reconnaissance vessel returns with a dire report. It was ambushed by an unknown enemy, one unlike any they have encountered before. The attackers were swift, brutal, and used weapons that seem almost otherworldly. The Deathworlders realize the threat is no mere band of raiders, but something far more dangerous and organized. The news sends shockwaves through the fleet. The Deathworlders, known for their iron discipline and tactical precision, suddenly face an enemy that challenges everything they thought they knew. The scouts barely escape with their lives, and the fleet's command prepares to deploy their fiercest ships and deadliest warriors. Part 1 closes on a tense cliffhanger. The Deathworlders, with their most powerful fleet ready to launch, stand at the edge of a decision that could change the course of the galaxy. Will they heed the alien SOS and face an unknown terror, or will they retreat and risk the destruction spreading unchecked? The fate of the colony, and perhaps much more, hangs in the balance. The gravity of the situation becomes undeniable. After the harrowing ambush on their scout ship and the desperate SOS from the alien colony, the Deathworlders' High Command convenes in the colossal war chamber aboard their flagship. The tension is thick in the air. For a species renowned for their fearlessness and dominance, uncertainty now gnaws at the edges of their confidence. Despite initial hesitation, the decision is made. The Deathworlders will respond. The alien SOS is too critical to ignore. This choice signals a monumental shift in the Deathworlders' usual doctrine of isolation and self-preservation. The fleet's fiercest warships, each bristling with heavy weaponry and shielded by the toughest armor, begin mobilizing. Veteran captains rally their seasoned warriors, elite units who have survived countless brutal campaigns on the deadliest worlds, to prepare for a high-stakes intervention. However, the decision isn't unanimous. Deep divides emerge among the Command Council. Some commanders argue that rushing into a fight for an alien species with uncertain alliances and unknown enemies could be reckless. They warn that the Deathworlders risk losing precious ships and warriors to what might be a trap or an unwinnable war. One grizzled admiral questions the value of aiding outsiders when the Deathworlders' own territories could be vulnerable to other threats. Standing firm against this skepticism is Kael'rith, the young commander whose resolve had ignited the initial call to action. His voice is steady but passionate as he makes the case for intervention. He emphasizes that the unknown enemy threatening the colony could be the harbinger of a far greater menace. If left unchecked, this threat might grow until it challenges even the Deathworlders' survival. He argues that turning a blind eye out of fear or mistrust could ultimately lead to devastation far closer to home. Kael'rith's vision gradually sways the council. His belief in proactive defense, striking first to prevent greater harm, is a doctrine that resonates with many younger commanders. They rally behind him, seeing this mission as a chance to prove the Deathworlders' strength not only in battle, but as protectors of galactic stability. As the fleet prepares for deployment, the logistical complexity becomes clear. The Deathworlders' warships are unlike any other in the galaxy. Massive, heavily armed, and built for sustained warfare on hostile Deathworlds. The fleet's assembly is a show of raw power. Hundreds of warships aligning, engines glowing with readiness. Specialized units load weapons, calibrate advanced targeting systems, and conduct final drills. Elite boarding teams train relentlessly, knowing the battle ahead will demand ruthless efficiency. Just as the fleet is ready to jump into hyperspace toward the SOS coordinates, an unexpected complication arises. The navigational officers detect peculiar spatial anomalies, distortions in the fabric of spacetime near the target system. These anomalies threaten to disrupt hyperspace travel, making the journey dangerous and unpredictable. Sensors pick up strange energy readings and electromagnetic interference unlike anything previously catalogued. This discovery alarms the commanders. It suggests that the enemy might have set traps or barriers designed to slow or trap any fleet attempting to reach the colony. The Deathworlders must now adapt their plans, balancing speed with caution, readying for an uncertain path through hostile space. Despite these dangers, the fleet jumps into hyperspace, plunging toward the beleaguered colony. The commanders know that what awaits them is more than a simple rescue mission. It's the opening move in a potentially galactic-scale conflict. Part 2 ends on a note of suspense and resolve. The Deathworlders' fiercest fleet speeds through the stars, facing unknown perils ahead. The internal divisions have given way to unity born of necessity. What lies beyond the spatial anomalies and the SOS signal is a brutal test of strength, strategy, and survival. The galaxy holds its breath. After a tense and perilous journey through the unpredictable hyperspace anomalies, the Deathworlders' fleet finally emerges from the void near the coordinates of the distress signal. The sight that greets them is far worse than they had imagined. The alien colony, once a modest outpost of hope and life, lies ravaged, scarred by fire, shattered structures, an eerie silence broken only by the distant crackle of residual energy weapons. The very atmosphere of the system feels heavy with devastation. As the flagship's sensors scan the battlefield, the commanders witness harrowing scenes. Starships reduced to drifting husks, ground defenses obliterated, and signs of fierce combat etched into every visible corner. Survivors of the colony, a mixture of alien species unfamiliar to most Deathworlders, send urgent communications pleading for aid. Their voices, trembling but resolute, recount a nightmare invasion by an enemy force unlike any previously encountered. Deathworlders learn that this mysterious enemy is not a mere raiding party or band of marauders, but an ancient scourge from the darkest corners of galactic history. Long believed extinct, this hostile faction has returned, wielding technology and powers that defy current understanding. Their attacks are swift and merciless, incorporating devastating energy weapons, biomechanical creatures, and tactics that suggest a terrifying blend of organic and technological warfare. The fleet's War Council convenes on the flagship to assess the dire situation. It becomes clear that the battle will be unlike any the Deathworlders have fought before. Their standard tactics, honed through generations of brutal wars on harsh Deathworlds, may not be enough. The enemy's biomechanical warriors appear to adapt rapidly to conventional assaults, while the energy weapons they wield can penetrate even the Deathworlders' strongest shields. Worse still, the flagship suffers a sudden, crippling strike from an enemy attack squadron lurking in nearby asteroid fields. Explosions rock the command deck, alarms blaring as systems flicker and emergency protocols engage. The fleet is stunned. An attack of such precision and power was not anticipated. Damage control teams race against time to stabilize the flagship. But the blow leaves the fleet vulnerable and forces a temporary retreat into a defensive formation. Amidst this chaos, Kael'rith steps forward with a fierce determination. Recognizing that hesitation now could mean total annihilation, he urges the commanders to regroup and mount a counteroffensive. His insight into the enemy's tactics and his belief in the Deathworlders' indomitable will breathe new life into the fleet. He insists they cannot allow the colony to fall, not just for the aliens' sake, but to stop a threat that could one day reach the Deathworlders' own worlds. Kael'rith leads a bold reconnaissance mission to scout the enemy's positions and weaknesses. With a small elite team, he ventures deep into the war-torn planet's surface and nearby space zones, dodging biomechanical patrols and avoiding energy traps. Along the way, they uncover chilling evidence of the enemy's origins, an ancient faction driven by a dark purpose that extends beyond mere conquest. This revelation deepens the stakes. The Deathworlders realize that their mission is no longer just a rescue, but a battle for survival against an existential enemy. The war zone they have arrived at is only the first front in what promises to be a devastating galactic conflict. As the part closes, the fleet regroups, battered but unbroken. Kael'rith's courage and tactical brilliance spark renewed hope among the warriors. The Deathworlders steel themselves for the fierce battles ahead, knowing that the true test has only just begun. The stage is set for an epic confrontation. The Deathworlders, despite the heavy losses and the crippling blow to their flagship, refuse to yield. Their fleet, though battered, regroups with grim determination. The commanders draw on centuries of warfare experience, crafting battle plans to counter the enemy's terrifying biomechanical forces and devastating energy weaponry. As the Deathworlders advance, the enemy reveals the full extent of their horrific power. Their biomechanical warriors, terrifying hybrids of living tissue and machine, move with lethal precision and brutal strength. These creatures adapt rapidly in combat, learning from every assault to counter the Deathworlders' tactics. Their energy weapons emit pulses that can slice through the strongest armor, creating shockwaves that disrupt defensive shields. The battlefield becomes a chaotic symphony of explosions, energy beams, and roars of monstrous creatures clashing with hardened warriors. The Deathworlders deploy their heavy artillery and specialized assault squads, using relentless aggression and tactical cunning to hold ground and push the enemy back. The clash is not just physical but psychological, each side testing the limits of endurance, morale, and willpower. During the battle, the Deathworlders discover a horrifying new enemy ability: mind control. Some of their own warriors begin to behave strangely, as if puppeteered by an unseen force. The enemy's biomechanical hybrids use advanced neural weapons to infiltrate minds, turning the strongest fighters into deadly saboteurs against their own fleet. This revelation sends shockwaves through the Deathworlder ranks, sowing distrust and confusion. Kael'rith, always at the forefront, quickly adapts to this new threat. He devises countermeasures to shield his warriors' minds, using ancient Deathworlder techniques and technology to block neural interference. His leadership and quick thinking restore cohesion to the fleet, inspiring his comrades to fight harder against the creeping menace. Amidst the chaos, Kael'rith uncovers a critical secret: the enemy's power source, a mysterious artifact or technology hidden deep within their command center. This source appears to amplify their biomechanical abilities and mind control powers, making them nearly invincible. Destroying or capturing this power source becomes the new objective. However, the enemy has laid deadly traps around their command center, with lethal defenses and ambushes designed to eliminate any intruders. Kael'rith realizes that a direct assault would be suicide. Instead, he plans a covert infiltration to bypass the outer defenses and strike at the heart of the enemy's strength. Before launching this dangerous mission, Kael'rith gathers his most trusted warriors and shares the grim truth of what lies ahead. They prepare for a mission that might be their last, aware that failure means the death of the colony and possibly the entire region. The tension is palpable, yet so is the resolve. Part 4 closes on a cliffhanger as Kael'rith and his elite team begin their infiltration into enemy territory. Every step forward is fraught with peril. The fate of the fleet, the colony, and possibly the galaxy depends on their success. The clash of titans has escalated beyond a mere battle. It is now a desperate war for survival and dominance. The battlefield's chaos fades into tense silence as Kael'rith and his elite infiltration team stealthily navigate through the enemy's dark and twisted stronghold. This mission is the most perilous yet. Deep within the heart of the enemy's territory lies the source of their terrifying power, a mysterious artifact that fuels their biomechanical enhancements and mind control capabilities. Destroying it could turn the tide of war, but the path is littered with deadly traps, alien guardians, and psychological torment designed to break the strongest wills. Kael'rith's team moves with precision and discipline, using their Deathworlder training to survive in this hostile environment. The enemy stronghold is an alien nightmare, a labyrinthine fusion of organic matter and cold metal, pulsating with ominous energy. Strange whispers echo through the halls, playing tricks on the minds of the intruders. The team faces biomechanical sentinels, part machine, part living organism, that react with terrifying speed and adapt to their tactics, forcing Kael'rith to rely on ingenuity and adaptability. As they push forward, the psychological warfare intensifies. The artifact emits an aura that amplifies fear and doubt, preying on each warrior's worst memories and insecurities. Kael'rith himself struggles with haunting visions from his past battles, fallen comrades, failed missions, and the burden of leadership. Yet his iron will and the loyalty of his team keep them united and focused on their mission. Suddenly, they reach the core chamber where the artifact resides, a pulsating orb of dark energy suspended in a web of alien technology. The artifact radiates immense power, its hum filling the chamber like a living heartbeat. Destroying it will require both brute force and tactical precision. As Kael'rith's team prepares to strike, alarms blare throughout the stronghold, alerting the enemy to their presence. A fierce defense ensues. Waves of biomechanical warriors pour into the chamber, intent on protecting their power source. The Deathworlders fight desperately, their training and ferocity on full display. Kael'rith leads the charge, wielding his energy blade with lethal grace. Despite the overwhelming odds, the team's determination and coordination allow them to hold their ground. In a critical moment, Kael'rith uses a specialized explosive device to shatter the containment field around the artifact. The orb destabilizes, glowing brighter and more erratically. With a final, coordinated strike, the team manages to destroy the artifact, triggering a violent energy surge that shakes the entire stronghold. The destruction of the artifact sends shockwaves through the enemy forces. Their biomechanical warriors falter, their mind control influence dissipates, and confusion spreads. The Deathworlders fleet, sensing the sudden weakening of the enemy, rallies for a full-scale assault. However, the victory is bittersweet. Kael'rith's team suffers heavy casualties, and the stronghold begins to collapse under the strain of the artifact's destruction. With no time to spare, the survivors make a harrowing escape through collapsing tunnels and crumbling corridors, narrowly avoiding being trapped forever. As they regroup with the fleet, the Deathworlders find the tide of battle turning in their favor. The alien colony's defenders, inspired by the intervention, push back against the remaining enemy forces with renewed vigor. The death grip of terror loosens, and hope flickers anew. Part 5 closes with Kael'rith reflecting on the cost of their victory. The battle for survival has been won, but the enemy's remnants still lurk and the scars of war run deep. The Deathworlders understand that this victory is just a step in a much larger war for the fate of the galaxy. With the destruction of the enemy's power source and the turning of the tide in the battle, the Deathworlders begin the arduous task of securing the war zone and stabilizing the alien colony. The survivors, though battered and weary, rally around their newfound allies, grateful for the intervention that saved their home from total annihilation. The alliance forged in the crucible of battle promises to reshape political dynamics across the galaxy. Despite the victory, the cost weighs heavily on the Deathworlders. The fleet has suffered significant losses, ships destroyed, warriors fallen, and scars etched deep in the hearts of those who remain. The High Command holds a somber memorial to honor the dead, reminding all that even the fiercest warriors pay a price for victory. Kelrith, now a hero celebrated across multiple worlds, stands among the survivors, his leadership and courage forever etched into their history. But the war is far from over. Intelligence gathered from the enemy stronghold reveals that this ancient faction was only a vanguard of a much larger force lurking in the shadows of the galaxy. Their true purpose remains shrouded in mystery, and their full strength is yet to be unleashed. The Deathworlders understand that this battle was merely the opening chapter of a far greater conflict, one that will test the limits of their power, strategy, and unity. Recognizing the gravity of this looming threat, the Deathworlders embark on a campaign of preparation and alliance building. The SOS call and the fleet's response have awakened old grudges and rivalries, but also opened opportunities for unprecedented cooperation. Kelrith leads diplomatic missions to former enemies and neutral species, advocating for a united front against the common menace. His experience on the battlefield lends weight to his words, inspiring hope and determination. Meanwhile, the Deathworlders invest in advancing their technology and training, eager to learn from the recent conflict. They analyze the enemy's biomechanical warfare and mind control tactics, seeking ways to counter and possibly turn these tools to their own advantage. Laboratories hum with activity as scientists and engineers work tirelessly to develop new weapons, defenses, and strategic doctrines. On a more personal level, the warriors who survived the conflict return changed. Many carry physical and emotional scars, but their resolve is unbroken. The fleet's veterans become mentors to a new generation of Deathworlder fighters, instilling lessons learned from the brutal campaign. The stories of sacrifice, bravery, and unity become legend, told across star systems to remind all that the fiercest fleet stands not only by its might but by its heart. Kelrith himself contemplates the future. Though celebrated as a hero, he knows his role is just beginning. The legacy of the fleet depends not only on victories, but on the strength of alliances and the wisdom to navigate the complex political landscape ahead. He vows to protect his people and their new allies, prepared to face whatever darkness looms beyond the stars. The galaxy watches as the Deathworlders rebuild and prepare. The alien SOS that once sparked fear and uncertainty has transformed into a beacon of resilience and power. The fiercest fleet is no longer just a force of destruction, but a symbol of hope and survival. Part 6 closes with a hopeful yet cautious note, setting the stage for future adventures and conflicts. The Deathworlders have answered the call, and their legacy is written among the stars, bold, unyielding, and eternal.